Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final round of the Sim Experience South Africa Toyota GT4 Cup. This is round 10 coming to you live from the Valencia circuit in Spain. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, and I'm joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean, and welcome back.
Good evening, Dennis. Thank you very much. Cape Town was a lot of fun. Nice to be back.
Of course, this is now the final round, so you've missed Kyle Army, which was quite an interesting race. But this is Valencia. It's quite a lot tighter than Kyle Army. I think it's probably only got one main passing opportunity. That would be, well, either at the end of the main straight or into turn 2. Probably going to be your biggest overtaking opportunities. Very tight. I think it could maybe make for an exciting race too. Fantastic circuit to drive. Very, very difficult to race, but it does make for close racing. So it should be quite exciting. Just to have a look at our point system coming into this round. Of course, it is 22 points for P1, and it is 1 point for the final position, P15. And coming into this round, the championship is officially wrapped up, so Gerrit Pierkes is our champion. For full throttle, he is on 343 points. Jason Underwood is for JU Autos is on 294 points. Jean Tory for Savage Racing on 288 points. I'll just put that up. We're going to go live to our qualifying in a moment, so while we have that, let me just jump to it quickly. Alright, we are now officially live, so this is now live qualifying, a 15-minute qualifying for round 10, the final round of the Valencian Grand Prix circuit. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell once again, joined by Sean Woodgate.
Yeah, here we are. 14 corners on this circuit. So, as Dennis said, turns 1 and 2. Turn 1 is the curve of Aspar, turn 2 is the curve at Duin. Potential places to pass, but as for the rest, it's change of direction multiple times. I think what takes out the, if you want to call it the back straight, but it has a curve which then wipes that out and then into a hairpin, which is turn 7 and 8. So I don't think there's much chance of an overtake there, but certainly a circuit that's going to keep you very busy, just over 4 kilometers long.
As you're on board, I think this is Neil that we're on board with at the moment. He's just done a 30.185 in Sector 1. Jean-Andre has just done a 29.8 into Sector 1. Fantastic part of the circuit. Most well known in the biking community, I guess, more bike races here than anything else, being Spanish.
Yes, if you look at the names of the corners as well, and also the circuit itself, the circuit Ricardo Tormo, named after Ricardo Tormo, who was a double world champion in 50cc racing, believe it or not.
Yeah, back in the days, 50cc was quite a popular class.
I think of names like Kreidler, Zundap. In the days as I was in primary school, those were the quick 50s around for the guys in high school in those days.
Our timings for some reason wasn't showing up. It's now showing up. Apologies for that.
So it is Neil Swartz, you were quite right. And yeah, he gets the first completed lap. And it didn't last long. He was in pole until Jean-Andre completed a lap, and Jean-Andre jumps into pole position by a fair margin, 1.5 seconds on Neil, but we'll expect him to improve. The championship winner Gerrit Pierkes, he's going to see what he can do.
Yeah, it's quite tight. I think in practice before we had very, very close times. I think Jean-Andre has just done the fastest time that I've seen on the server. I stand corrected, but I think the fastest before was a 36.4 or 36.2. I think that's the fastest shown so far. And Gerrit has currently got 2 personal bests, but not fastest overall in Sector 1 or Sector 2.
Yeah, it might be enough. Let's just have a quick look. It's quicker than Michael Rabellini, who lies in 3rd, but it's slower. Sector 1 is slower than Neil, and Neil's Sector 2 times disappears. So I don't think it's going to be easy, but certainly a nice long front straight. Circuit runs counterclockwise.
And Balder comes across the line in 9th place.
Jason's also still got a lot of time to catch up to try and make it into the top three. So Jean-Ray Dutoit quickest, and 0.6 of a second at this stage is quite a big jump from first to second, but we'll see what Gerrit can do about that in the remaining time in qualifying. 13 cars on the track at the moment, and just under 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session.
Seems like quite a long qualifying session. The drivers are sort of all over the track at the moment, so we can try and keep up with it. Only 13 drivers tonight as the final round.
As usual, Sumeri is at her position, wishing everybody a good race, and already predicting that she's going to be bored next week, Sunday, with no racing going on.
Yes, of course. So next week we were taking a break, so it'll be Easter weekend. Everyone can put their feet up and enjoy it.
The fan club to the Flying Bumblebee, Gerrit Beekers, who's in P2 for so far in qualifying, but has already wrapped up the championship.
Just looking at the timings at the moment,
To read the messages that do pop up. I was in Mac's screen.
it looks like Jason's really struggling tonight. As I say that he pops up to P3, so can't be struggling too much.
Third position now, so looks as though Jason's been working hard at that lap. He has personal bests for himself in all three sectors, and Jean-Ray going out does a personal best in sector 1 again, and it's the first personal best I think that is sub 30 seconds, a 29.773 for sector 1 for Jean-Ray, so that's car really flying.
Right, let's see what he's doing in the final sector, because the middle sector was not that great.
Although still quick, he's been quicker himself. Let's see if he's going to beat that 36.131 that put him in pole.
Using the full width of the track as you can lean on the curbs quite a lot there.
Busy track. It has 14 corners to it. Some of them actually have names, others don't. There you seem to drift out wide. That seems to be the pit lane that's there. So this is the front straightaway. What's his time going to be like?
35.853.
853. So Dennis, what you were saying then, this is the new best lap time.
That's correct, yes. I think that's the first 35 we've seen so far.
Let's see where Mornay can put himself. Mornay's in 7th at the moment. Mornay deploying. Runs for the Caribbean United team, car number 38.
I'll be watching Monet. I know he was complaining that he might have internet issues connecting. His ping was very high, apparently, playing from the Caribbean. With all the internet issues currently in Africa on the ocean cables, it seems like some people might have an issue.
He's under in 5th position, a personal best in all three sectors, and manages a time of 37.981, but it's just over 2 seconds off the time of Jean-Ray Dutoit. So at this stage, it's Jean-Ray Dutoit, Gerrit Beekers, Jason Underwood. Those are the top three. We seem to see them running in the top three regularly. Then it's Neil Swartz, Pakistan. I said that SS Racing Team is going to be quick when they joined us, and they've been consistently in the top 5, and I think even had a podium finish here and there. Dinesh Singh in the IBF USA team. He's lying in 6th position at this stage with still 6 minutes and a bit to go. Mornay deploy, as I mentioned. There's Pakistander in that colour scheme. You can't miss the SS Racing Team. They get to confuse us when they're running sort of close to each other, but a car or two apart, because you don't always know who's in which car. Neil Swartz, Pakistander in those lime green and turquoise cars. Where was I last? Mornay deploy in 7th. Michael Rabellini. He runs in 8th position, 2.5 seconds behind the pace setter, Jean-Ray Dutoit. Jeffrey Rouse in the Sim Experience SAB team in 9th position. Close, it's only 0.1 of a second between Jeffrey and Michael, so that's going to be an interesting battle. Arjan Belder is in 10th position. That's car number 8. And he's quite a bit further back, a full second behind Jeffrey Rouse. Monet de Toy in 11th position. Andre Hildebrandt in 12th. And Julian Brains number 40 in the Sim Experience SA team. Car number 40 in 13th position. So that's what we have, 13 cars. Let me just double check it doesn't go over to the next page. I think we actually get 14 cars on one page. So 13 it is, and one page only. And we have lost Dennis. That's not the end of the world.
I am still here.
As I say, we've lost Dennis. Julian has lost his compass, but he manages to regain it again. He's out of the gravel and back on the circuit, so he continues to go around. And then he gets it all sideways and facing the wrong direction. So certainly he's testing the gravel taps of Valencia. Jeffrey Rouse, where's Jeffrey gone? In 9th position. So a couple of the cars in the pits, you see them go onto the rumble strip on the right hand side at the end of the straight before they take the Curve Aspar, which is the left hander. Then it goes up the hill to turn 2, which is named after McDoohan. Then there's a sweep again to the left, and then it will be a 90-degree corner. This is the one. Nico Terol, another just over 90 degrees, turn 5, and on to Curve Angel Nieto. So I was going to still look up the corner names. Then there's a bit of a straight after Angel Nieto, but it doesn't last for very long before they go into Curva de la Afición, which is just slightly to the left, and then there's an almost hairpin, but it's a long sweeping hairpin, it's not a tight hairpin. That's turn 8, and that immediately into turn 9, which is also left, and then a sweeping, it's like an S almost, the right hander into turn 10. Turn 11, I could find a name to that, Jame Masla. And then there's a bit of a straight section coming down into turn 12, which is a right-hander, almost 90 degrees. And then there's just one long, continuous left-hand curve, which is turn 13. It goes on and on and on, and leads into Curva Adrian Campos, and that is into the straight. There you see the exit off the track. They've just gone through Curva Adrian Campos. That's another name. It was marked as A Campos, and that's not good enough for me, so I went looking for it. And his full name was actually Adrian Campos. I didn't actually make the time with the other team, SS Racing, again, still running together. What's happened in the top? Nothing really. Jean-Ray Detoy still leads with that 35.853. Jared Beekes is 0.9 of a second. As I said earlier, it was 0.6, and I said that's a big gap. Now it's almost a full second between Jean-Ray and Gerrit. So Gerrit has the championship in the bag, so he's certainly going to try and win this one, but will more than likely be racing for points.
Yeah, this I think is going to be his final attempt. I think he might have one more after this, but it's going to be close.
I've been saying all along that I've lost Dennis, meanwhile I've lost myself. It's this adapter that I've got that, and I've just gone through describing the circuit in detail all to myself.
No, we have actually heard you. I could hear you clearly. Obviously, you couldn't hear us, though.
Yes. Yeah, the adapter, it's finicky. Not the adapter itself, but the USB plug that is actually, because I've got to adapt to get a microphone and a headphone. These new laptops don't have enough ports. And then I noticed the light wasn't on. So I had to adjust that quickly. So sorry if I've been hogging the microphone, but I thought we'd lost you.
No, all good.
So at least everybody's been around the circuit now.
Yes, they know the circuit intimately now.
So, yeah, things happen.
But the other rider that I was thinking of when we were talking about 50cc bikes was Agostini, because I think his one championship was on a 50cc as well back in the day.
Yeah, I did have time to read it. Wikipedia is a very good source of information. Danny Pedrosa, I think his career started at this circuit, but obviously not in MotoGP, I think in the 125s. Back in those days where the categories were 125, 250s and 500cc's, he started racing here. So Jason Underwood stays in third. He's in the black car. Let's see, he hasn't got any personal bests this time round. So Gerrit Beekes has managed to improve. It's no longer almost a full second. It's only 3/4 of a second that he's behind Jean-Ray. But I don't think anybody's going to come close to that 35.8 that Jean-Ray has set up.
I'm surprised the gap is so big. I mean, Jean-Ray, I think, has just put in an absolutely bonking lap there, but usually Gerrit is right there with him, and if it's one or the other, it's usually close. That's, I think, the biggest gap we've seen between P1 and P2 throughout the championship.
Exactly. Yes, noticeably so. We hope it's not going to be the same in the race, not wishing any bad luck to Jean-Ray at all, but we certainly like to commentate when the racing for the lead, or certainly for the podium positions, is actually very close with, what's it now, 10 seconds to go, 15. I know we've actually gone over time already. So.
And Neil Schwarzer stole third place from Jason, but Jason is on a personal best. So this is the battle for third place. Pretty much everyone apart from Julian and Jason has lost it, so he won't be improving. So it's just Julian that is still on a lap, I believe. He had a personal best sector 1, but he's abandoned the lap. All right, we're going to jump to an ad break then, and we'll be back shortly for race 1. Stay with us. We'll see you now. Alright, welcome back everybody. We are now live for the Sim Experience South Africa Toyota GT4 Cup Round 10, our season finale from the Valencia circuit in Spain. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate for race 1, a 20-minute race. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Dennis. Thank you, everybody. If you don't know where the circuit is, it's not far from Madrid either. It's a 4-kilometer circuit, lots of turns and not so many overtaking chances, but certainly we hope that it's going to give us some good close racing.
Just showing our championship standings while everyone's waiting to see the starting order, I'm sure, which we will get to shortly. Only one change in the grid positions. So let us have a look at those grid positions now. So starting in pole position we have Jean de Toy from Gerrit Pierkes in 3rd place, Neil Swartz in 4th place, Dinesh Singh. In 5th place, Picky Stander. In 6th place, Monet Deploy. In 7th place, Michael Rabellini. And in 8th place, Jeffrey Rouse. In 9th place, Jason Underwood. In 10th place, Ariane Balder. In 11th place, Monet Dutoy. And in 12th place, Julian Brains. And the final position, 13th place, Andre Hildebrandt. I'm kind of just seeing Andre last. I'm surprised Andre didn't have a stronger championship. I was expecting he would be, I think I brought it up once before, I was expecting he would be fighting mid-pack, sort of closer to the front in these cars, and it just hasn't gelled for him. So hopefully things will get better for him in our MX-5 championship. Maybe that will be more up his liking. I know he did have it looked like from some of the testing we did in the MX-5s, we actually saw that he had problems with his pedal, his throttle pedal. So maybe that was something that affected the start of this championship as well. Who knows? But hopefully things will get better.
The MX-5, excuse me, when they do start the championship in the MX-5s, are they going to be limited to what setup they can do, like we've done in this championship?
Yes, the MX-5s will be fixed setup, but that will be in a different sim. That will not be in R-Factor 2, which we're currently using. That will be in Race Room. So we've had requests from guys to try the sim. So we're going to break away, try something in Race Room. That car is particularly good. So we're going to do that. It'll be a fixed setup, 2 20-minute races with a 15-minute qualifying. So very similar format to what we have here. It'll just be a different car. Just replying to the question about why is Jason in 9th, that is a grid penalty for an incident at the previous round.
What happened to Picky? He's missing.
He is in the pits at the moment. As the race has now got going. Yeah, I'm not sure why Picky hasn't started.
Yeah, so 20 minutes worth of racing. His teammate Neil Swartz certainly got away well. There's Picky. I wonder if he didn't get something go wrong that he had to come and have fixed. Let's see if he does get going. I wish they'd move that banner, or whatever it is, because that does block that corner completely, but nonetheless, that's just me being finicky. Oh, that's more than the racing line, but I suppose nothing gained, nothing lost. Jason has positions to make up, and hopefully he'll be able to get past them pretty soon, or he will probably hope that he gets past pretty soon. Jason down to 7th, and he did lose 5 grid positions because of a previous race incident. So Jean Ray's off 0.6 of a second ahead of Gerrit already. I don't think Gerrit will be worried too much about it. He'll like to get another trophy on the podium here, but certainly with the championship already wrapped up, Gerrit will be well on his way just to stay behind Jean de Toy and let him run.
Yeah, just a comment there. Yeah, it kind of takes the excitement out of it with Jason not being in the mix. Yes, it does, but unfortunately, yeah, penalties are there for a reason, to kind of keep everyone in line, and sometimes guys make mistakes. I just need to be reminded of that. But yeah. I'm sure Jason will bounce back from it. He's a very good driver.
It's actually going to add an element of interest because I think Jason and Jean-Ray are separated by six points in the championship, as I recall when it went past. So everything to race for still for second and third. So that's going to be the interesting bit to see where Genre, and at the moment with Genre in the lead, he's certainly trying to make that second position his own, and Jason is battling along. How far has Jason got up now?
He's down to 13th.
What happened to Jason? Unless he had an off which was not being covered by what we're looking at. So maybe we saw him go off when he was on a hot lap in qualifying. Here the guys are also exceeding, well, getting off all the lines of the track, even the rumble strip. We saw it happen here as well. They get, I think that's Tartan. But the battle that's on at the moment is that in the black car is, no, this is Jason recovering, I think. And it was Picky Standard that we saw starting from the pits that Jason has just got past. So Jason up into 12th with 17 minutes to go. It's a long way back, but guaranteed it's all of 14 seconds that Jason is behind the leader, and he's going to, here we see what happens. He looks as though he's done it all on his own. He's off the racing line completely. I'm not sure why he tried to take that line into the corner. It certainly is making the corner a lot narrower, the attempt that he did, but you can see from the dark bits, that's where the rubber is laid down for good grip. And he was on the grey bit of tarmac, and I don't think there would have been any grip there, unless he maybe just lost where he was on the track. That's the only thing I can think of. But Jason will know, and at this stage still only in 12th position.
Some surprises in the race at the moment. For example, we've got Michael Rebellini in 6th place. He's having a solid race at the moment.
Yes, and he's only, well, 0.8 of a second behind Mornay Deploy, but certainly it can be interesting further into the race as he's making that gap smaller and smaller between himself and Mornay Deploy. Mornay is having a good race for a change in 5th position, so we were watching him in qualifying. I don't think he qualified as high as what he's running. Dinesh Singh is also having a good run, but that's probably all because of Picky and Jason further down. But you mentioned Andre Hildebrandt. He's, I think, compared to where he qualified, Andre is running a good race in 9th position. But I tell you what, Gerrit Beekers only 0.18 of a second behind the nifty Nachi. The Bumblebee tries the inside, gets the nose up on the inside. There's no nifty Nachi, just makes it extra wide. The next corner is to the right-hand side again, so that closes it off completely. So we've had a change for the lead and a race fastest lap for Gerrit Beekers, a 1:36.37.
Yeah, I didn't expect that going by the qualifying times, but I think we had that happen last week as well, where it looked like Jean was going to dominate, and then we got into qualifying. Parrot just kicked it up a gear. Maybe he's just waited till the race tonight. It looks like he's kicked it up a gear now.
It certainly is going well, and a quarter of a second in the lead already. Neil Swartz is holding on to that 3rd position. As I said, Dinesh Singh is in 4th, so the Flying Bumblebee just went going merrily along, the full throttle number 03, passing the Boeing Brigade, the nifty Nachi number 737 of Jean-Ray Dutoy. But certainly, as you can see, this track, once you've gotten out of turn 2, it's just work. You've got 2 occasions. Between turn 6 and 7, there's a slight, shall I say, a rest. And then between turn 11 and 12, there's a bit of a rest again. And then you've got that continuous left-hander turn 13 that you've got to be holding onto the wheel and keep the car pointing in the right direction. And then the straight, which is quite long as well, which gives you a slight bit of respite.
In the background, we see Mornay Deploy, and right behind him, Jason Underwood, making his way back through the field again. He's got past Julian and Andre Hildebrandt.
Right, Jason's gap is 15 seconds that he's behind. So that means he'll be 10 seconds behind Neil Swartz, which I think is optimistic for him to aim at 3rd for this race. But nonetheless, with 13 minutes to go, nothing's impossible. Let's see, Jason's last lap time was not given because I think of the spin. So we'll get a lap time from him the next time he crosses the finishing line. But there's drifting. He could have won a trophy at the drifting in Killarney with that.
That was well held there.
Yeah. And of course you heat up the tires, and it'll be the tires on the outside, and this track going counterclockwise, those are the tires that are doing all the work, and then you drift it onto those tires as well still, and have them spin up, so they're going to be hot. Yeah, here the guys are using their Andre also going off the circuit. I'm not sure how strict the server is going to be with them tonight, but we've had 2 occasions now that we've seen the guys there again, completely off the rumble strip, and all 4 wheels on the other side of the white line. Remember, we're not trying, or I'm not trying to be nasty to anybody. I'm just telling you what I see, and it's up to the server to decide who gets a warning and or a penalty if it deems it to be serious enough.
Well, Andre's sort of going back and forward with Julian. Julian's struggling with this circuit as well. I know some of the circuits with this car he says are fantastic, and some I don't think he likes. It looks like this is one that he's struggling with, and he's not really gelling with it so much.
Arjan Belder as well was running, I think, in 10th position, but he must have had a moment or a few moments, because he now finds himself in 13th and last. Picky Stander, who started out of the pit lane for reasons unknown to us, is in 12th position, so that's Picky, and he's second last. It'll be Arjan that's running behind him, and ahead of Picky is Andre Hildebrand and Julian Brains, which you said Julian was battling at some circuits and running great races at others. Look at that again.
Julian.
Yeah, that's not going to, and it's that same corner that we saw previously, so I don't think that corner, the grip level is very good.
Looks
I'm
like
not sure
Aaron is spun in sympathy.
Yes, I'm not sure what the track temperature is, but it looks like a bright sunny day, and this being Spain can be very hot. So if the track is hot and your tires are hot, then the grip levels are going to be not so good, and that's more than likely why they got to spin at the Curva Adrian Campos, the last corner.
We've got a nice battle here with Dean Ash as well. I think that's Morne Deploy right behind him, so that's the battle for 4th place. Dean Ash having a solid race again tonight.
Only 0.5 of a second between Dinash and Mornay, so certainly you can't put that one in the pocket yet. You've still got 11 minutes of racing to do. As I get rid of a frog in my throat.
I get it as much when you've been silent there.
Yeah. So the racing is close. It's coming in chapters, but at the moment, Genre is 0.4 of a second behind Gerrit, and then it's a long gap to Neil, which is 7 seconds. 2 seconds to Dinash. Behind Dinash, only half a second. This is the battle that you can see is Morne Deploy. Then almost 4 seconds to Michael Rabellini. Half a second behind Michael Rabellini is Jeffrey Rouse. Then 1.3 seconds further back is Jason Underwood, who's recovered to 8th position now, but as I said, it's 1.5 seconds that he's going to take just to get to Jeffrey Rouse, and it's 10 minutes of racing to go. Morne de Toy is 5 seconds behind Jason. Picky Stander is up to 10th, so he's recovering slowly, 1.7 seconds behind Morne. Andre Hildebrand's in 11th, he's 0.7 of a second behind Picky Stander. Julian Brains after the spin is 15 seconds, 16 seconds, and he's in fact just been overtaken by Arjan Belder. So Arjan Belder is now 16.5 seconds behind Andre Hildebrand, and Julian Brains, having just been overtaken by Arjan, is last and is 2 seconds behind Arjan.
The message there, Detroit needs to keep it cool. The second place is good points versus no points.
That's very, very true, and also taking into consideration that Jason's in 8th. So rather take the points you've got, and if he's got a good pit crew, then they will more than likely tell him that Jason's in fact now in 7th. Jason's got past Mornay, so now Jason only is right on the tail of Jeffrey Rouse. So that'll be an interesting one to see. Jason 0.2 of a second behind Jeffrey. That's for 6th position that Jason is chasing. This at the moment is the Flying Bumblebee against the Nifty Narchi. It's Gerrit in the lead, but he doesn't have it all his own way. 0.4 of a second that Jean-Ray Dutoy is right there with him. This is the straight. We said this is the one occasion that there is for passing, the left-hander Curve Aspar. And I don't think it was close enough. That's about 3 or 4 car lengths, both of them going over the rumble strip onto the green, then off to turn number 2. That's another chance potentially, but also not close enough even to attempt to get alongside. So I think it'll remain as is for now. Let's see where Jason is. Got past Jeffrey Rouse, so he's up to 6th position. He is 4.7 seconds behind Mornay Deploy with 8 minutes of racing still to go. And of course, whatever gets added depending when the race leader crosses the line. Jason is using the track and then some, but certainly he's got the bit between the teeth now, and he's trying to get up to Mornay Deploy at least. That's now down to less. Now I lied, Jason is 4.5 minutes behind Mornay Deploy, so it's a long way to go with only 8 minutes of racing to go.
Yeah, and then he's still got the second race to go as well, so yeah,
Yes.
lots of opportunities still to be had.
Yeah, so Khaled not happy with just winning the championship and also not happy with just winning this race. He gets, at this stage, he gets the bonus point for the quickest lap in the race as well. Nifty Nachi is not making it easy for him. Up the inside he comes, the corner goes to the left, so he'll have the racing line. Just got to leave enough space. It was almost enough space. So Khaled gets demoted down to 2nd place, and they're making it. That's one spot we didn't think would be a place to overtake. The Nifty Notch is up on the inside. It's going to be to the left. It's on the brake markers. There was enough space definitely there. Now there's a switchback, and we'll see whether that's going to change because it's another corner to the left, turn 2. So, oh, what close racing this is, and even with 2 wheels on the curbing, and then drifts onto the natural racing line, and then just makes that car very wide, so that he ensures that through turns 3 and 4, there is no chance to overtake over there. Turn 5, also right-hander. The next one is left, which is turn 6. The Carre Angel Nieto, and no chance to overtake there, not when you're about 3 car lengths behind.
Extremely close between them. Good to see that the changing of place is nice and clean. Good respect shown between the drivers.
Yeah, and also they just have to worry about themselves. And that said, the only thing that Khaled has to worry about, well, he doesn't even have to worry about finishing, but it looks like he wants to take all the points on hand, and certainly he's doing his damnedest to show them the way around this track. If you look at the last lap, the guys are running in the 37s and 38s, which is a full second and more slower than the quickest lap by Gerrit Beker, so that bonus point is also in the pocket, I should imagine, considering that they have 5.5 minutes to run. But he's absolutely, from qualifying to racing, the car seems to have undergone a major change, and he now has the pedal down, and he is, as you can see, in the distance ahead of Jean-Ray Dutoy and the Nifty Nachi, trying everything to catch up to the Flying Bumblebee of Gerrit Bekers, but not doing so at this stage. The gap is 0.6 of a second. So doesn't sound like much, but that's what 0.6 of a second looks like on the road. Under braking, it looks as though Jean-Ray catches up to him, but that's the, what do you call it, the xylophone effect or accordion or something.
Accordion, I guess.
That the one guy's under braking and the other guy's still going to get to the brake marker. You'll see it stretch again when the one car gets under acceleration earlier than the car behind him, then the gap stretches again. But Jean-Ray's driving this race very well. He's keeping Gerrit really honest and making sure that he doesn't get away from him by any means. Less than half a second between first and second, as you see that on track.
Vicky also making his way through the field. Right up behind Mornay Dutoy now.
Yeah, he's going to harass him to see if he can get Mornay to make a mistake. Just more than 4 minutes of racing to go. So, lucky as we say, we saw him start from the pits. We don't know why. He's in 9th position, trying to get 8th from Mornay. And that's points that you can certainly use. Andre Hildebrandt is back to 11th again. Arjan Belder at 12th. And Julian, as we said, seems to be battling with the car. Does a personal best in Sector 3, though. And that's the point where Julian was spinning it off. Oh, there's one going very wide and one up on the inside. Is there going to be a switcheroo here? They really are fighting hard at each other, but keeping it clean. But look how the cars are drifting out of the corners. I think if you're not on the ultimate grip line, as it were, the racing line, then it's very, very difficult, because in this extreme heat and the rubber put down, you just drift a little bit, and you don't grip very well in the gravel either, although that seemed to stay the way that it did.
Monet also right behind Dean Ash at the moment. So those places have swapped around again.
Yeah, quietly, unnoticed, or has Neil been in third all along, with Dean Ash in fourth, and Monet Deploy pushing hard. It's 0.26 of a second, so Monet Deploy is also trying to make fourth position his own. Dean Ash is trying his best to defend it, and in so doing, he's more than 7 seconds, that's Dean Ash, he's more than 7 seconds behind Neil Swartz. So we're not sure what's going to happen for first and second in the next 2 3/4 minutes, but it looks as though Neil Swartz, I recall, qualified third, is running third, and will start race 2 in third, because everybody else swaps around, but third, well, not everybody else, first, second, and fourth and fifth swap around. So the top 5 grid positions, which effectively means that Neil Swartz, who qualified third, will stay in third. So running true to form, and let's have a look, he's 10 seconds behind Jean-Ray du Toit, so nobody to attack, and he's 8 seconds ahead of Dean Ash Singh, so nobody to defend from either. He's running his own race. Car number 32, Neil Swartz, doing very well in the SS Racing colours.
Something's happened to Monet. I think he's run off track because he's suddenly dropped a place.
Yes, Jeffrey Rouse has got past him for 6th.
As has Jason as well. So Jason is now up to 5th place.
And Jason has 4.5 seconds to catch Dean Ash. So with only 1.5 3/4 seconds left in the race, I don't think that's going to happen. So more than likely, Dean Ash for 4th, Jason for 5th. But we've seen I think this is the race that we've seen the most cars spin off circuit by their own doing. There's been no argy-bargy. The guys have just been off the racing line and have probably gone in a little bit hot at times. But certainly what is very hot is that Nifty Nachi right up there with Jean-Ray du Toit's Flying Bumblebee, or the Nifty Nachi or Jean-Ray du Toit, the Flying Bumblebee of Gerrit Beekers, and they are really trying their utmost. I'm just trying to see where they are on the circuit. From what it shows at the top, they might even complete this lap with a minute to go and then start one more. So I think with 50 seconds thereabouts, they're going to finish this lap, and then it'll be the final lap. And at this stage, Gerrit Beekers, we have heard him mention in podium questions we've posed to them previously, he says that the tires get hot, and they actually all say so. So this is the start of the final lap. And with the hot tires, you battle for grip. So the last lap comes up as they cross the finish line. Gerrit Beekers leads by 1/4 of a second. It's really close, and Jean-Ray du Toit right up there with him. They drift to the right to make the slingshot through the corner. That's the Curve Aspar, and the next one is the Curve Duan. This is the Spanish, of course. A curve is just another name for turn. So yes, you did say earlier this is predominantly motorcycle racing circuit, and you see the big names. For those of you that don't know who Duan was, Mick Duan also had a big accident and had to adapt the motorbike to be able to brake with his hand, and did so very efficiently.
Using his thumb, yeah.
Yes. I'm just trying to think who his teammate was back then. If it wasn't for Mick Duan's setup, he'd also have been not as good as what he was. Alex Crivier, does that sound?
I think Crivier joined him after that, if I remember correctly.
So at this stage, the Bumblebee is flying along merrily ahead of the Nachi, and I think that's, well, the furthest we've seen him in a while, 0.38 of a second. Under braking, it closes up again. The car seems to stay very neat. That's the car of Gerrit Beekers. We have the privilege of looking at the back end of it out of Jean-Ray's car, and he doesn't see there. They just cut the corner a little bit. There are certain parts on this track where they have sort of interlinking roads, and the guys use that as part of the racing line at times as well. But certainly not from flag to flag, but certainly to the finish. You've got to first finish to finish first, and Gerrit Beekers takes the checkered flag from Jean-Ray du Toit. It'll be Neil Swartz in third position, as we said. Qualified third, race to third. He will start race 2 in third, and then it's quite a bit of a gap to Dean Ash Singh. So D-Nash comes across the line. There's quite a give back, about a 5-second gap between D-Nash and Jason. Jason has the dark car. Here's Jason across the line now.
Good recovery drive for Jason.
Yeah, I think a good recovery. Jeffrey Rouse had a good race. I think he had the benefit of people losing the track around him, and certainly Monet deploy in midfield at 7th. And then
Good result for
Monet.
Monet as well.
Yeah.
And Monet du Toy also a good result in 9th place or 8th place.
Yeah, Andre Hildebrand, as you said, you expected him mid-pack. He did finish 10th, which is, I think, okay. Michael Rabellini was running higher at one stage, finished as 11th. Arjan Belder in 12th position, and Julian Brains at the back of the field, P13.
Yeah, Julian had a really bad race. Hopefully race 2 will be a bit smoother for him, as I'm sure it will be for the others as well. Like Jason had a bit of incidents in race 1, but still managed to move forward in the race. So let's see how he starts for race 2.
Yeah, well, he's going to be, I assume if you get the penalty, do you get it for one race only?
Yes, one race only, yes. So he will
Okay, so
start
he'll
in
be-
second place, I think.
I think he qualified, was he P4 or P5? But nonetheless, he'll be on the front row as Julian shows us how to do some donuts and tries to move the barrier, and he doesn't get very successful at it.
We'll be back shortly for race 2. Stick with us till then. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you're enjoying what you're watching. We'll see you shortly.
Cheers until then.
Right, welcome back everybody to race 2 of the Sim Experience South Africa Toyota GT4 Cup. Coming to you live from the Valencia circuit in Spain. This is round 2, race 2, another 20-minute race. I'm the commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening again, Dennis. Just quickly, he's jumped on now. There's Jason. I was going to say we have an empty grid slot 2, but Jason has joined us for round 2 at Valencia.
Alright, before I do the grid positions, let me just get that ready. Sorry, I'm not prepared. I don't know if you want to just call through that when it comes on screen.
Yeah, I'll go through the grids. Right, of course, we swapped the first 5, so it's Dinesh Singh from Jason Underwood, Neil Swartz, and Gerrit Beekes make up the top 4. Jean-Ray Dutoy in 5th, Picky Standard in 6th position, Mornay Deploy in 7th, and Michael Rabellini in 8th. 9th position will be Jeffrey Rouse, Arjan Belder starting from 10th, Mornay Detoy in 11th, and rounding off the Dirty Dozen will be Andre Hildebrandt. I think Julian Brains has left for this evening, and we have 12 cars on grid for race 2.
Yep, I think he's decided to call it quits for the night by the looks of things, unless he has some kind of technical issue. We can get our live timings and things ready as well.
As we said at the start of the race 1, this circuit you get very little chance to actually take a break, and I think Jason Underwood will be much happier starting from P2, and it's certainly going to be interesting because Jean-Ray Dutoy is in P5 behind him. I wasn't convinced that Jason was as comfortable with the car in qualifying and in the race as what potentially Jean-Ray is, but that being said, Jean-Ray has got to fight back from 5th, and I just saw the message pop up and disappear again. Easiest to say is that there are very few points between 2nd and 3rd. The championship is in the bag. Gerrit Beekes doesn't have to worry about that, but the race is on for 2nd and 3rd, and Jason is starting in P2. He's well placed. Let me just get where he's going to be, because the turn is to the left. So although he's starting in the 2nd slot, if he can stay right up on the inside of Dinesh with a demon start, he'll have the racing line going into turn 1 as well as turn 2 and turn 3. So the first change of direction to the right is actually turn 4.
Right, just wait for everyone. They've got 6 seconds to go. And they're away. Green, green, green.
Great start by both cars, 1st and 2nd. Let's see what Jason's going to do. He's done exactly what I've said. He's just got to get his car. In fact, he's gone ahead. So he can do the blocking line now. But look at Neil Swartz. He's also there or thereabouts. And here comes the nifty Nachi. So Jean-Ray is also trying his utmost to make up a position or 2. He's on the wrong side of the circuit to do that now. I'm surprised that the 2nd Picky's car drifted out so far. I thought he would have held the racing line. Now it's Neil Swartz that blocks the line for Jean-Ray. But look at the great start that Dinesh has had. What did Jason do wrong? I thought Jason had such a good start. He must have made a big mistake. There Dinesh drifts up wide. That gets Jason back. Here comes Neil Swartz. Also, it's changing all the time. It's, of course, everybody's so close after the start, and nobody wants to make a mistake. They push Jean-Ray Dutoy just a little bit wide. He does the sensible thing and just drifts onto the rumble strip. You've got to be, there's maybe a nudge. You actually just hang a little bit back, and I think Jean-Ray's up into 3rd already with Jason in 2nd. So I don't know the points out of my head, but certainly 2nd and 3rd in the championship are the cars that are running 2nd and 3rd on the track. Not potentially in that sequence, but those are the 2 cars that are worrying about who's going to finish second, who's going to finish third. Gerrit is watching them 2 cars back. He's behind Neil Swartz at this stage, not even in picture. Nash is having a good run. Here we're looking forward out of Neil Swartz's car. We can see first, second, and third. What a nice, that looks so much like Westbank. Well, what used to be Westbank, sorry. I've got to get that right, is now Leukup. The second part of Leukup, as you come down the mine shaft, the corner looks very, very similar. But at this stage, Nash has had a good recovery, because certainly Jason got a good start, but then for some reason couldn't hold on to that great start. But now Nash is in the lead from Jason Underwood, Jean-Ray du Toit right there with him, and all these cars less than half a second, you can see them, and even Pikkie Stander behind Gerrit Beekes there, he's having a good start.
Mornay getting a bit of opposite lock on there, the car getting really, really loose on him there.
We did mention the track temperature earlier today. Clear skies, it must be a hot circuit, and with that happening and these cars having a natural tendency to be heating up the right-hand tires because it runs counterclockwise. Oh, here's maybe a change for second. Jason up into first. Nash in second. Is Nash holding on to second? Because here comes the nifty Nachi at him up on the inside. We did see the grey portion of the track previously. I think it was with Jason. Didn't grip this well. This time it looks as though Jean-Ray just held onto it, and Nash gets demoted to third for a little bit. He fights back, takes back second position, but drifts out wide. And of course, with that happening behind Jason, he can afford to get going, and get going he does. He's got a second lead already ahead of Nash. Everybody on the brakes. That's actually a very clever move there by Neil. Otherwise, he would have run right into the back of Gerrit Beekes, and you don't want that happening. So, Gerrit Beekes, what have you done? Did he get a nudge, or did he just lose the track? He's actually, luckily, he's back on, and back on with a vengeance, as he, I think, inadvertently bumps into Mornay du Toit. But I think everybody recovered from that quite well. So Jean-Ray du Toit 1.2 seconds behind Jason Underwood. And I think there's enough points difference between first and second. If the race were to end now, then Jason would more than likely get second in the championship. I can't recall where they were when we went into this race, but from first to third for Nash. And it's very difficult because Neil Swartz is right there with him as well, and he'll stick to him. I tell you, Neil's really had a good season. We did say early in the season when these guys joined, that's Neil Swartz and Pikkie Stander, the teammates, and they seem to be equal caliber to each other as well. Of course, the first guy that you want to beat on track is your own teammate. But Neil Swartz and Pikkie Stander having a good evening tonight, except Pikkie had a pit lane start for some other reason. Yeah, they come up on Nash now. From the inside, holds it, gives space, plenty of space, and then drifts onto the racing line once he's actually comfortably past Nashing. So Neil Swartz up into third position, and Nash is going to be under threat now from Pikkie Stander. In the meantime, Jason Underwood in the lead by 0.7 of a second from Jean-Ray du Toit.
Replay from Gerrit's car.
Yeah, it certainly is close stuff. Let's see if that was... Oh, he took avoiding action. It looks as though they have different brake markers, and that was avoiding action because I think Gerrit's driving style has him brake a lot later on that corner, and he actually avoided running into the car. So hats off to him. Where is he running now? Have a quick look, 6th position, and he'll fight back to recover from 6th. He's only got 0.3 of a second, then he's onto Pikkie Stander, and there you can see Pikkie, the second of the two lime green and turquoise cars. So there's the Bumblebee. That's now buzzing like a hornet's nest because he's certainly not going to enjoy the idea of giving up all those positions after having the grid swap first of all, and then having to take avoiding action so as to not run into the car in front of you. So a lot of catch up to do here. I say again, I'm not fully convinced that either Jason or Jean-Ray are 100% comfortable with these cars under these conditions at this circuit. They're normally very, very smooth drivers, both of them, and we've seen a bit of raggedness here and there. Jason takes 2 attempts at turning that corner and gets through it quite comfortably, but it's not something that we've been accustomed to, and Jean-Ray is going to make life. Jean-Ray has the quickest lap at the moment at 36.7 for this race, so they are quick. We did say they were quick in qualifying, Dennis. You said it's one of the quickest times you've seen on the server. This is in full race trim.
Very close. Is he going to go for a lunge up the inside? He's looking.
The corner turns away to the left, so I don't think that's the place to try and do it, because you'll have to go through the outside and into the straightaway again. And we've said before, I don't think these guys ever really rest, but for flexing the hands, just because I think you can get, like the motorcyclists, get a bit of arm pump, where you have the muscles in your forearm become almost like cramped. I think these guys, with holding onto the steering wheel as much as what they do, and constant turning, once you get through turn 2, you're working at this car all the time. Here's the attack from Gerrit on Dinesh, and Gerrit makes it look so easy, but Dinesh comes back at him. I think Gerrit was a bit hot going into the corner. And they, jumping the curves, there is Dinesh. And who's this? Oh, was there a touch? I think there was. Was that Picky and Michael?
Picky and Dinesh. Picky and Dinesh.
It was Dinesh, yeah. So, just running the rumble strip there. Dinesh holds position. And as Picky's thunder right there behind him is Michael Rabellini. So, they seem to have spread out a bit now. But the gap is still only 0.2 of a second between Jean-Ray Dutoit and Jason Underwood ahead of him. So a very, very close race. Jeffrey Rouse is in 9th position. He's got good company ahead of him though. Mornay Deploy and Michael Rabellini, and they're not separated by much.
Yeah, it's quite a nice pack in the middle, yeah? And then there's a couple at the back that are spreading out a bit as well.
Yeah, so Mornay Deploy is in 8th position, but as I said, he's certainly got a race to run, because he's got Jeffrey Rouse behind him and Michael Rabellini not far ahead of him. So he's got to think about what's happening behind him. Not too close yet, but certainly he has to worry. Yeah. Now that last corner seems to catch out quite a few of the drivers, and Michael Rabellini was one of them, and Mornay Deploy gets past him.
I think it's because you got to brake before the crest, and some guys think they can brake on the crest, and if you do that, it unsettles the rear end of the car, and that's what happens.
Yeah, with any braking on top of a crest, the car's light anyway, and now you're on the brakes, so the chances of a lockup become a lot bigger if you actually brake on the crest. Get the car to go over the crest, settle on the shocks again, and then onto the brakes. Alternatively, just drop maybe 5 kilometers an hour when the car crests, so that it settles sooner. But that's us, the armchair critics, racing or giving racing tips, which is absolutely not what I want to do. But that's the theory. Oh, who's gone there? Totally off. Is it Neil Swartz? I just think he had a malfunction either, or he just had a brain fade, but certainly the back end of the car not going, or the front end of the car not pointing in the direction that he wanted it to go. But he's right up there with Mornay Deploy. Mornay Deploy gets pushed a bit wide, and Neil Swartz takes the position back. I think it's Jeffrey Rouse with that bright top of the car being yellow. Yeah, we still have the first and second using the curbing. As I said, these guys are trying everything. This is for second and third in the championship, but first and second in this race. And of course, it might have an influence on the podium as well. Oh, there's a bit of a nudge and a spin for Jean-Ray. He's not going to be happy about that. Now he's got to wait for all the traffic to come past before he can rejoin. I think he's going to go virtually down to the back of the pack, because there's not really a big gap.
I'm sure going to be furious.
Yeah, that's not going to be a very happy man, is Jean-Ray, and Jean-Ray falls back to 9th position. So where that was such a closely run race for first and second, now it's only 1.5 seconds for Gerrit Beekes to catch up to Jason Underwood, and there's 9.5 minutes. Let's have a look at this a little bit closer. It's the other one ahead of it, I think, that we wanted to look at, not this specific piece.
Not too sure.
That's the back end. Yeah, he just lost the back end of the car and into the barrier. Oh, luckily he missed the barrier. I wonder if we can catch the replay of the nudge between Jason and Jean-Ray, or the potential nudge, let me be kinder in my words. But I think that might have determined the end result of this race, except if the full throttle number 3 Flying Bumblebee of Gerrit Beekes can get up to speed, and there it is, right in the mirrors of Jason Underwood. Here it comes now. Jean-Ray actually got offline. Here again, on the grey stuff, on the brakes, the car gets unsettled. He drifts wide off the circuit, comes back. Yeah.
Just a bit of contact here.
Yeah, it was enough to unsettle, and then of course with Jean-Ray having to wait so long for all the other cars to come out of that last turn, it was a bad space in which to have a spin, because you couldn't, and the car was facing in the wrong direction, so he could see the oncoming traffic and had to wait for it to go past. Right, so Gerrit, what's that, 0.4 of a second, so it's brought the gap down already. He's got Jason in his sights. He doesn't have to worry about too much, other than supper, because we were reminded that if Gerrit doesn't win, he doesn't get supper.
Well, he has one race won, so you'll at least get half a plate, surely.
Yeah, maybe he'll get vegetables and a potato, so...
Doesn't get the dessert.
Be nice, Sumeri, be nice. So here they come around the corner, and it's still less than half a second, and I think Gerrit will keep an eye out to see where Jason's car is unsettled and where he can attempt to make the pass without any risk to himself. That's always the important thing. Passing is one thing, but when the cars are slippery like this, then the other guy might just make a mistake that could be detrimental to your own health, and you might just decide not to do it there.
Just looking at the different styles, and Jason, we were commenting on the different styles and how he's quite smooth. He definitely looks slower on the brakes. Both Gerrit and Jean-Ray close massively on the brakes. Ooh, a bit of contact there.
Yeah, but then he does the gentlemanly thing, hangs back and lets him pass, or not lets him pass, retain the lead. And that's the second time we've seen that happen with Gerrit. It caught him out with one of the lime green and SS Racing cars that I think he manages on that corner, turn 14, to brake a lot later than the others, but still settle the car and get it turned into the corner. There we saw very definitely that he was later on the brakes than Jason, and that's what caused the tap, why I ran into the back of Jason. So that might be a potential point where if he can position the car earlier, he might be able to pass Jason, is at turn 14. Curva Adrian Campos.
Quite a close battle, yeah, the three of them, yeah?
Yeah, it's Picky Stander, Mornay Deploy, and Neil Swartz behind them.
And they're having a good look there, having to pull to the side just to see if he can spot a little bit of a gap. Or just to make sure he's seen in the mirrors, just to play a bit of a gamesmanship with the driver ahead of you.
Yeah, certainly makes you feel threatened when you have a car with that bright livery in your mirrors, as we have 6 minutes, just under 6 minutes to run. Nice S they've got there, and I think that S, it certainly is, well, not easy, but the double change of direction gets the cars going in all sorts of directions, and well, not everybody, but they have different lines in which to approach that corner. There again, you see a correction from Neil Swartz, and here the guys drift out to the wide. There the back end steps out, correct, and this is his teammate now ahead of him. So it's Neil Swartz looking ahead at Picky Stander. They got past Mornay Deploy, both of them, and they now will be aiming at Dinesh Singh.
Change for the lead as well. So we'll just follow that. It's happened in the background. I'm not too sure exactly when, so I'll just thought I'd put this on. We can watch up until it happens. It does happen on this lap.
Right, easy. Well, when the replay started, Gerrit was a long way back, so I'm not sure if it's a mistake by Jason, whether Gerrit is just so much better on the brakes. He's off the racing line there.
He's being caught quite fast up the inside there.
Oh, that's a lunge, but he hugged the curbs, so the ruling that if the guy's up on your inside before the corner, you need to leave a car width, and certainly Gerrit Beekers was right up against the curbing, and he was fully next to Jason. So just the way that I saw it, and I might be wrong, and I say that every time because I'm not a judge of fact, but certainly the Flying Bumblebee is off and already 0.7 of a second ahead of Jason Underwood, and Jean-Ray is 12.8 seconds behind the race leader. That means he's about 12 seconds behind Jason. So with only under 4 minutes to go, I don't think that there's much chance for Jean-Ray to catch up to Jason, and that will be second and third position decided for the championship as well.
Yeah, I believe there's just a 1 point between the second and third.
Yeah, so where it was very close with the incident that happened, it'll be, well, Sumri is giving the Boeing now the go-ahead, but I tell you, certainly it's difficult for Jean-Ray to catch up. He still has 1 point bonus. He's got 1 bonus point for the fastest lap, 36.7, so it's not for lack of trying. The teammates are attacking Dinesh Singh. Dinesh Singh ahead of them there in third position. Dinesh has really come of age in these cars, because there were times that he was a bit ragged in some of the other formulas, but he seems to really like these cars, these Toyotas, and he has a good turn of speed with them, and he's been consistently in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely been the surprise of the championship, I think.
Yeah. And you can see some of the marks there that are off the racing line, as it were, and those are some of, shall we call them the drifters, because some of the guys come through that corner. The last corner is the one specifically that I've said that seems to be such a difficult corner to master. Here's that edge that I'm talking about that they come through, and these guys work the second half, or the midsection of this circuit. You're working at it continuously because there are changes of direction all over the place.
So they've got Dinesh right in front of them, and behind them they've got Monet Deploy, who's not too far back. So as they squabble, he's closing in.
If you look at the last lap,
mistake there.
Yeah, and that happened so quickly. Luckily the car stayed on the track. Oh, and a spin in sympathy. So that was that Monet? Yes,
Deploy.
Monet Deploy. Yeah. So there's Jean-Ray, gets gifted, I think, 6th position, but he's 2.5 seconds behind Picky, but then the gaps are single seconds until you get to Dinesh Singh. Dinesh is 7.5 seconds behind Jason. So that's the difficult one. There's again off the racing line, in my opinion, and off the track as well. So I think if you can follow that which is darker than grey, that's almost the racing line, but you can see all over the place there are dark lines, and that's when the cars are actually crossed up and drifting and off. See there, Dinesh goes off the racing line onto the grey bit. My logic tells me that the grip there is not as good as what it is on the black, but nonetheless he's driving and he's doing very well in 3rd position in the IBF USA team car.
And this is the replay of Monet, unfortunately being collected here. Oh, just a bit of contact and it spins the car around.
I think he was actually the car behind, and he drifted out of the corner in what would probably be his normal line, but there was a car in front of him that he just drifted into, and that spun him around. But it's good to see the teammates, Neil Swartz, Picky Stander, they at each other, less than half a second separates them, and they're right there with Dinesh Singh. Also, only 0.3 of a seconds between Neil Swartz and Dinesh, so you can expect they cross the line now, so that the race leader is already on the last lap. So time has run out, or is about to run out. So with the race leader only about a quarter of the way into the final lap, look at them drifting those cars. Dinesh goes way off track, but manages, I think, to stay ahead, but the road goes to the left, so maybe it's going to be Neil that has the racing line. He certainly makes it his own. Dinesh drifts out again, and I think right into the space that Picky Stander wanted to occupy. But Picky has this lap to try and gain a position for 4th position in the race. He's going to try and follow his teammate Dinesh, battling with grip. Picky getting a nice tight line through that corner. The next one unluckily goes the wrong way for him, but right there comes Jean-Ray Dutoy as well, and he stayed out of the way of Jean-Ray Dutoy, and Jean-Ray goes through into 5th position. He's going to be taking, I think, Dinesh Singh soon, and then it's Neil Swartz for third, but I think that's going to be very difficult. But the race is Gerrit Bierkes once again by 1.5 seconds. We don't get to mention him much because it's just way in the future. He's ahead of everybody else. Is Gerrit Bierkes in the full throttle Flying Bumblebee. Jason Underwood in the JU Autos Racing number 17 car in second position. Is not that far back, only 1.3 seconds. And then a long gap to Neil Swartz for third. So there comes first and second. Checkered flag for Gerrit Bierkes. And second place for Jason Underwood. Here's the still on Neil Swartz for third. John Ray right there with him. It's going to be Neil Swartz from John Ray to a Dinesh Singh, Pakistan. That's the speed at which they cross the line. So wait for Jeffrey Rouse. There he comes along, also in yellow and black. Behind, that's in 7th. Michael Rabolini in 8th position. Mornay de Toy will be the next one through with Arjan Belder behind him. Behind Arjan Belder will be Andre Hildebrand. And we missed the fact that Mornay de Toy had a DNF.
Yeah, I think after the incident, he just pulled into the pits and just decided that he was maybe either damaged, and it was the last lap. Might as well just pull in. All right, we're going to gather our top 3 drivers. We'll be back shortly for the interviews. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button and stick around for the interviews. We'll be back shortly, so see you then.
Until then.
All right, welcome back everybody to the completion of the Sim Experience South Africa Toyota GT4 Cup. This is the completion of the entire championship. This is the final round, round 10. We have our top 3 drivers for today's race. So joining us for the top 3, we have Gerrit Peerkes in first, Jean-Ray du Toit in second, and Niels Swart in third place. Sean, do you want to do the questions or the interviews?
Just a quick one starting, or quick few questions starting from Neil. We were discussing that you guys were fairly new to sim racing, but with practice and consistency, did you think that you would be on the podium for a race when you started this season, Neil?
Not at all, to be honest with you. Like, this is my second one for the season, so I surprised myself, especially on this track. I'm not gonna lie. I do want to apologize to the guys that had to sit with me while I was practicing before the race, because I was hating on the track and hating on the car and hating on everything. But yeah, no, I just found my groove like through the qualifying, and then in the race I was able to get consistent, except for the second race where I had a little bit of an oopsie, but I was able to fight back. But yeah, no, I didn't expect to India, but I'm happy with it. It's fun. It's stressful at times. It's something that I would recommend anyone that if they've ever wanted to do it, they should definitely start doing it. But yeah, it's a lucky experience, like a good group of guys to be racing with, and some fair and honest racing, and it's good fun.
Great, thanks, Neil. To you, Jean-Ray, one of the circuits, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in my opinion you didn't look as comfortable and as smooth in the car on the track as what we have become accustomed to. Did you battle with the car at times?
On this track, it's a bit difficult. The car tends to slide a lot around the corners, and then your tires just go. So it's a bit of controlled chaos, but yeah, I managed to put in some good times. Gerrit was a freak in practice with these times. But overall, I think it was a fun track. The brake markers just make it a bit difficult. But yeah, I did struggle a bit with tires at some points, but overall, good race.
And then, Gerrit, one or two wake-up moments for you at that last corner where you seem to have a totally different brake marker to everybody else and actually had to take evasive action, made for an interesting comeback in race 2.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun tonight. I actually really like this track because of the difficult lines, and I really like it. And yeah, I had a bit of an off there. I think I almost ran into the back of Neil in the last corner and had to take evasive action and just had a slight off there. But yeah, my pace was decent enough that I knew that I could catch up, and yeah, that was it.
Great season that you had with logo just appearing now for 2024 overall drivers champion in the Toyota GT4 Cup. You've certainly shown the way to everybody else, but consistently so throughout. So great racing, and thanks for the privilege that we have had, me specifically, to commentate on it. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you, Dennis.
All right, I'm going to say good night to everyone then, and of course congratulations to Gerrit and the rest of the guys. Of course, Gerrit for winning the championship, and for everyone else for attending, and you guys for making the top 3 tonight.
Yeah, and thanks to you guys for all the effort you guys put in.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for hosting, and congrats to Gerrit for dominating the season.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So that, of course, is the end of the championship. This is the final round, so we have no races for this championship. But we will be back in 2 weeks' time, I believe it is. So next week is Easter weekend. We are off Easter weekend. Then we'll be back for a new championship in Race Room, driving the MX-5 Cup car. So that should be a new challenge for some. We've had a request for a different sim for a change, so that's the one we've gone with by popular selection, I guess you would say. It's a fantastic car to drive. It should make for some really close racing. I think our numbers should be fairly decent for that, and it should be, I imagine, having a few newer drivers joining us for that haven't driven us before, perhaps didn't like our factor. I know we got to one in particular that only drives that sim, so that should be interesting to see the ones that change over. And I know Gerrit has signed up for it to see how he will adapt. It is a different sim, it feels different. Every sim is unique. they all try and simulate the real world as best they can, but they all feel slightly different. So finding the one that works just right for you, Kurt, obviously works really well with this sim. Let's see how you'll fare there. I know we've got other drivers that are going to be very, very close there as well. That particular car and that particular sim, I think, will make for really, really good racing. So, Sean, thank you very much for joining us this championship and all the others.
It's always a pleasure.
And until we are back for the MX-5s, the MX-5s won't run exactly like we run this championship. So we won't do every race until the championship's over. We'll do 3 races, then we'll do an endurance race. So the endurance race will be a GT3 endurance race. That will be a separate championship. So we'll have 2 championships running. So that will be end of every month. We'll have an endurance race. There'll be 6 races for that. And then we'll have the MX-5 championship. And after the MX-5, we'll have another championship before the endurance one, I think, ultimately ends. There'll be 2 championships to look out for starting fairly soon. So keep your eyes on the YouTube. Remember to hit the like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll see when we have a new stream on the way. But until then, we'll catch you all for the next one. Have a good week, good 2 weeks. Until then, see you all then.
Good night, everybody.